Hi, my name is Phillip Franck, and I am a lighting and set and sound designer based here in Nashville. I, as a lighting designer, what I do is I work with the other designers on a production staff, and I work to illuminate the world, but more than just simply illuminating it, I'm also trying to support the work of my fellow designers, costume set, other designers, but what I'm doing is I'm creating, helping to take the world that we are all collaborating on collectively to create. I'm trying to create light that helps to illustrate it as well as simply illuminate it. Helps to expand beyond simply what does it look like if the lights are turned on, but supporting the emotional undercurrents, supporting what the playwright is thinking in terms of time of day and how does that influence what the action is happening and what the actors are doing on stage. um, Trying to reflect if the set designer has given me something like practicals, which would be any kind of a light that's on stage, like a lamp that's turned on. Is there light coming from that? Is that light turned on at this particular moment? Are we reinforcing that light? Or is that something that's just kind of standing off and I'm doing something that's more abstract on the space? But I'm doing all this work in consultation, in collaboration with the rest of the team. So the other designers, the director, even with the performers. I have to know where the performers are so I can put light on them. And I have to make sure that all the places that they are have light. So I start, as we all should start, with the script. And I spend time reading the script. I spend a lot of time analyzing the script. I'm looking for I'm looking for things that the playwrights might say about light. Most playwrights won't talk about light, but there are some that do. I'm also looking at what are the undercurrents, what's happening in the play, what are the emotional undercurrents, because the lighting is the quickest way, I think, to help support an emotional state on stage. If, for instance, if I want to, I'm going to be very broad here, but if I want something that looks really romantic, this is a romantic scene, maybe we have it drenched with deep, rich red blues or with purples. If we're talking about a fight scene, maybe it's in reds or oranges or yellows. Then in conversations with the director and the other designers, we talk about what are our conceptual frameworks for the play? Where are we coming from thinking about this play? Where are we taking it? It's always important to me to know where the set designer is going in terms of how the set is placed in the space. What are the colors the set designer is using? Obviously, working with a costume designer, I have to know the colors of the costumes because I need to not choose colors that are going to clash with that. I need colors that are going to support and reinforce the work of the other designers, not wash them out or muddy them up or in some way affect the work of my fellow collaborators negatively. I want to affect their work positively. Once we've decided on direction as a group, then I'm going to go off by myself and figure out how I'm really going to realize this light. I might have images that I've been working with, or I've got ideas that I've pulled together, but I have to turn that into physical lighting instruments, where they live in the space and how they're going to all work together. I create a drawing called a light plot, which shows every single light that we used in the show, and it's located in a specific spot in the space, and they all have a specific purpose. They have a specific color, perhaps, unless they're a color changing fixture. They will have a specific duty that each light is doing. And then I will take that light plot and we'll go into the theater. I'll have electricians who are working with me. The light plot will be hung, so installed into the theater. And then I have to focus them. So I'll stand on the stage with the electricians up at the lights, and all those lights will be pointed where I need them to point. We'll put in the gel if they've got color. We'll put in texture if they need to have a texture coming through them. We'll put a pattern in. Then we'll program the show. So we'll take all of those lights, and I will have figured out in the play text, what each light's doing at each moment in the play, and I'll create what are called cues, which are collections of different lights being on at different intensities, ranging from 0 to 100%. Once the show is all set, then the stage manager takes over and they'll call all those cues in the production, in the performance. And at that point, I'm like, I'm out of here. I'm off to whatever's next. See you later. Let me know if anything
Exactly.
breaks.
Exactly. So what would you say are some of the challenges of being a lighting designer?
Time, always
Mm,
time, because as a lighting designer, we do a lot of prep work. So we do a lot of work thinking about drawing the light plot, thinking about how cues are going to be created. But most of that, the creation of the cues themselves and the practicing of them and the tweaking, all that happens in a very constrained time. So we typically will be in a theater for maybe a week between the time that we load in a
mhm.
show and we open it. In that time, we have to install all the lights, focus all the lights, program all the cues, and practice, practice, practice all those cues, as well as make modifications. All of this takes time, and usually there's not that much of it. And we have to be flexible. We have to be able to think on our feet. We have to solve problems quickly because, again, there's not enough time. So we also have to make sure that we're solving those problems in an efficient way.
So what are some of the rewards that you get from being a lighting designer?
I think it's really, really cool. My favorite thing as a lighting designer is when I have some kind of a change that just really clicks with everything. I like seeing, say, for instance, a sunset that you've designed a 40-minute cue that has the sun going down and the color changing, which it does drastically at sunset. When that all works, it's really exciting.
Well, you've already mentioned, excuse me, you've already mentioned some of the things that I think are important, and I think you would agree. Being flexible, being collaborative, being able to work as a team with other people to come up with the final product. What are some of the other characteristics of a person or a student who might be interested in doing lighting design? What are some of those characteristics?
Well, I came to lighting through an interest in technology. Lighting is a very technical art, and increasingly so with the
Mm-hmm.
so in my career, we've had two kind of titanic shifts in the way lighting is done. I started doing lighting design late in the transition from manual lighting control to computerized lighting control.
Mm-hmm.
That changed everything. The other titanic change that's happening right now, and we're kind of, I feel like kind of midway through it, is the change from using tungsten light sources, where you have a filament that heats up and emits light, to LED, light emitting diodes. LEDs are, they really started to come into the theater world in the early 2000s. That's accelerated in the 2010s, and is continuing to accelerate. LEDs are really taking over the bulk of the illumination, because we're interfacing with computers. We're working with these high-tech light fixtures. Um, we have to be good with keeping a lot of numbers in our heads because we interact with all of this stuff via numbers. So being able to keep that in the noggin is really valuable.
What kind of education or experience do lighting designers usually have, or does it vary? Can you speak to that just a little bit?
Yeah, it varies. I would say in regional theater, most people will have come through some kind of college program, theater program. Maybe they were lighting designers in college, maybe they were doing something else and found lighting along the way. But a lot of people will have come through and done some lighting in college. I would say most regional theater professionals today have masters of fine arts, so they have a bachelor's degree, which is what you come out of college with, out of an undergraduate program. um, and then graduate school, you would get a master of fine arts, an MFA. This is the process that I went through.
So, how can we learn more about lighting design for the theater?
Yeah, there are some terrific books. Um, I would start with a search at either a school library or the Nashville Public Library, and search stage lighting. Google, there's a really good Wikipedia article about stage lighting design. There are many, 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 many YouTube videos about stage lighting design. Contact local lighting designers. If you go to see a show and somebody's lit it, contact that person. Chances are most of us have a website these days. And so we're not that hard to reach out to and contact. And most theater people are really excited to talk to people who are interested in what we do. I mean, that's just human nature. But as theater professionals, what we do is we tell stories about humans. And so we kind of like the interaction with humans too. It's a really, I mean, just reaching out and talking to a designer can be really valuable.
Absolutely. I appreciate that so much. I think that students don't often realize how approachable professionals are, because they really do like to talk about what they do.
Right,
and
right.
that's why you're here today, because
Yeah.
you like to talk about what you
Exactly.
do. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Phillip. This has been really great, and I know the students are really going to appreciate it.
Happy to be a part of it. Thank you.